Making a change for me meant I needed to have something that was totally different in my routine and the way that I eat and in the middle of the day. So ProFiber for me did a couple things. One is that it gave me enough protein and a lot of fiber. And what's amazing, it's an amazing amount of fiber, as a matter of fact. I mean, when you mix it, don't let it sit around for an hour. When you mix it, I like to let it sit for like 5 minutes or so because it gets this fantastic sort of viscosity to it. It's a little bit thick. It almost tastes like a smoothie or a shake almost. And you've got this great flavor. And the fiber will keep you filled. And the thing is, I don't want to have a drink that I drink and go, hey, that's great, I just did something healthy, and then I'm snacking 2 hours later because my body's starving. My health to me is incredibly important. I take 2 things that my doctor prescribes for me. He gives me prescription for acid reflux because he didn't like me eating a bunch of Tums all the time. And I take a non-addictive sleep aid because my doctor didn't like me taking Excedrin PM. He said there was stuff in there that he didn't want me taking long term, and that's all I take. I don't take anything for my heart, for cholesterol, for high blood pressure. And the reason is that I think it's because of my lifestyle and the way I eat. Now, when I said lifestyle, that's really important because everything I'm talking about, whether it's working out, volunteering for your passion, making sure you're getting enough sleep and eating right, is not a fad, it's not a diet. There's no short-term goal that say, once I get to this weight, I'm a winner, and I can just stop living the good life of eating well, and I can just do whatever I want. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to bounce my weight around. I like the way I feel. I love the energy level that I have, and I want to maintain that. And the way to maintain that, you absolutely have to have a lifestyle. And a big important part of that lifestyle is that you really have to eat right. You have to pay attention to what you put into your body. You have to understand what that's about, how that makes you feel, and where you're getting the benefits. And so for me, I eat a real light breakfast, mainly fruit. ProFiber for me in the middle of the day gives me everything I need to go. That'll carry me the whole rest of the day. My energy level stays up after my workout when I eat in the middle of the day. And then I get to enjoy cooking fresh food from my farmer's market and opening up a bottle of wine with my lovely wife at night. I've always stayed very active as a person, and it's always been important to me to be in good health. And I think once I was in corporate America for a number of years, you get tied to a desk and you start working long hours, and life just takes over. And the next thing you know is that maybe you're not working out as much as you should, and you're not eating as well as you should. And I think one of the things that happened for me is that when I finally retired, and I retired relatively young, I was 52 when I was done. I was one of 8 officers for Adelphia Communications, which was the 5th largest telecommunications company in the United States at the time. We were purchased by Comcast and Time Warner, and they divided the entire company up and just consolidated their markets around the rest of the United States. And those markets are still active today. I was running California, Southern California at the time, and Time Warner purchased all of those properties. There was 1 million customers and 3,000 employees that went to work for Time Warner, and I was done. But actually I was just beginning, because one of the things I love to do is I love to build businesses, and I love to build things. We, the team of people that I work with, are creating not only vibrant, sustainable businesses as nonprofits that are not asking for sponsorships or donations, we're actually giving back to the community, but it was a way to do something in this whole health and nutrition area. So what happened to me is that we're now in our 8th season. I've been eating out of my farmers markets I manage now for 8 years. That's how we shop. And it's an amazing thing. When you buy fresh every single week and you cook at home fresh every single week, it not only changes your whole dietary plan, but it changes the way that you feel. this is a product for me that I think you could use it anytime during the day that you want to. For me, I use it at lunchtime, and the reason is because I work out, and I work out intensely in the morning for usually a couple hours, at least 3 times a week, and then an hour on a different day of the week when I'm not managing my farmers markets. And the thing is that for lunch that works for me because I only eat a banana, maybe have some coffee in the morning, and then I'm off and running. In the middle of the day, I really don't want to eat heavily. I used to eat a sandwich. I'd have potato chips, do those types of things. And I could afford it because I'm burning, 650 to 800 calories in 2 hours in the morning, but that wasn't the point. I really wasn't feeling all that great eating like that in the middle of the day. It seemed like I kind of bogged down my energy level. I mean, I'd come off this really great, high of working out, and then as soon as I'd eat, all of a sudden my metabolic rate would just go boo and start kind of heading downward on me. And then I love to eat dinner. I love to cook. I like to have some wine at dinner. And the thing is that making a change for me meant I needed to have something that was totally different in my routine and the way that I eat and in the middle of the day. I will tell you this, is that I've never really believed in diets. Now, I'm not sort of casting shade on Weight Watchers or any of these other different nutritional plans that will allow people basically to lose weight and hopefully be more healthy and have a better healthy lifestyle. But the thing is, a lot of those seem to be just a placeholder. I mean, people do them for a while to get to a very short-term goal and then they stop. And that is not the point, I think, of ProFiber. The other thing is that there's a lot of products out there that make a lot of promises about what they are and what kind of benefits that they can provide for you. And I'm pretty well convinced that I think that some of those claims are pretty questionable, because I'm not so sure that it's a sustainable choice to use that product on a daily basis for a long period of time. That is the difference between a lot of those products I see out there in ProFiber. See, for me, ProFiber is something I wanted to try. I'm not an early adopter on these kinds of things. I'm more of a fast follower. I really want to understand more about the product, what's in it. When I was educated more about how the product was developed by an actual doctor and what was in the product when I read the label, I was seeing the types of things that I thought, somebody that really has an amazing amount of education, knowledge, and skill in nutritional science and the development of a very healthy food product has spent an enormous amount of time and energy developing this. And I thought I wanted to try it. I think what I was amazed by was, number one, it tasted really good. Some of these products I've tried before, it's like, man, if you can force this down, hopefully it'll be good for you. It wasn't that at all. I love the fact that it's got tons of fiber in it. To me, just the aspect of drinking something that tastes like a big giant thick smoothie is good for me, and I just like the way it makes me feel. And so I guess where I'm going with this is that I really didn't believe in a lot of these products that are out there, and I'm not the kind of person that just gets on a fad and just tries something because it's new and it's supposed to, have all these wonderful benefits. But when I was educated about the product and I actually started using it, I saw the benefits in a relatively short period of time. And most of them, what I was telling you earlier, is that the benefits I was seeing is that I could drink this in the middle of the day and not be hungry until it was time for dinner. The other thing is that I noticed that I did lose weight, but I didn't. But the weight that I lost, I think, was probably just where my body mass, for my age, was. I probably had a little bit more fat, and I was developing muscle because of the amount of hours I work out. But I wasn't eating probably as well as I should be, and so what happened is that I started losing some weight. But the weight I was losing was mainly in body mass. I mean, the shape of my body has actually changed during the time that I work out, and I've had ProFiber, and I've been using ProFiber now for 2 years. and regularly. And so what I mean that it's changed is that I have better muscle tone. I'm definitely more defined. My body mass index has gone up positively. And as you get older, that's important. You want to be gaining more muscle, but you want your muscle to, fat ratio to be what it should be for your age, for your size, for your gender, for all those things. So I feel like I look good, and I feel good. And the reality is that I don't feel like I've plateaued on the product either. I feel like the benefit I get from the product 2 years later is the same benefit I got from the first month I started using it. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for I'm looking for a food option that's going to allow me to gain the benefit of what I need for my lifestyle, and I want that to be sustainable. I don't want some bell curve where all of a sudden I start looking better and feeling better, and then boom, and then I hit the top, and now I'm going down the other side of diminishing return. So I'm not feeling like that, and I don't feel like I've even plateaued. But also, I didn't spike like a hockey stick either. I didn't just like take off and lose all this weight like in 2 weeks and then gain it back. What I did is that I slowly but surely, by using the product, have lost weight. And then it's sort of not exactly plateaued, but it just slowed down after I gained the benefit for like the first 6 months. It wasn't as dramatic, but now it's incremental. So not only does it keep me where I want to be, but I'm continuing to see improvement. But now it's smaller. It's smaller, levels of improvement. But the thing is that that's where I want to be. We opened up the Inglewood Farmers Market November 3rd. We had no idea that people would actually show up. I think the idea being is that we just knew that this community deserved to have a farmers market, and we decided to start one. We had 17 vendors, 1,500 people came. We didn't even know if anyone would come or not. And within 4 months later, we had 40 vendors and 3,000 people a week were coming.
And so this kind of came from your love of food and drink and travel, essentially, right?
It did. But what evolved out of that was, what should the mission of this farmers market be? It had to be a lot more than just selling fruits and vegetables, baked goods, fish, bread, cheese. The thing is that what did we want the market to be? Well, we wanted it to be a place where the community could come and interact with each other, but also interact with all these different food artisans and all these farmers. This is where rural meets urban in a certain way. But the idea being is that when you take a look at the foundation of this, it was really based on education, nutritional education, health, sustainability, sense of community. And so what would come out of that was, what kind of goodness could we bring back into the community for supporting the farmers market and all the food artisans and the farmers and bakers that are in the market. And the idea was, number one, we became a nonprofit, so all the proceeds go back to the local community food banks, care clinics. They go back to transitional housing for single moms with children. They go back to local parks. They go back to the local schools, elementary schools specifically. And then we got involved with the idea that we wanted to do SNAP. Why SNAP? It's because it comes out of the Department of Agriculture. It comes directly out of the Farm Bill. That's where the farming comes. It was a good connection for us. There is food insecurity in this community that we live in. It needed to be served. If you took a look at the number of kids that actually are in the backpack program, that's a percentage of people that financially are below the threshold of the poverty level, so they're already receiving subsidized meals at school. And the backpack actually transitions their food for the weekend when they're not in school receiving those meals. And so we realized that we needed to do something, and SNAP was an answer to give what we thought was a nutritional option to simply the large grocery store distribution outlets and put people directly in front of farmers where they could buy fresh food. The whole idea of buying and in participating and preparing and eating fresh food for their family is really important, because it not only translates into that experience of something locally that they can tie into, but it also translates into better health and nutritional education.